Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play the entirety of the video and then I'll go back and talk about things that are going on in the video to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that were done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
The information, audio, and visuals you're about to see are intended to provide details of an officer-involved shooting which occurred on the 7th of August, 2021 at about 2:51 a.m. in the 5800 block of Stein Road. An investigation into the use of force is being conducted to determine whether the actions of the officers were in compliance with law and department policy. Bakersfield Police Department officers are equipped with body-worn cameras. The cameras do not capture everything the officers saw or experienced and do not encompass the entirety of the investigation, which includes witness interviews, forensic processing, and administrative review. Conclusions about the officers' actions with regard to law and policy will not be made until all facts are known and the investigation is complete. This footage is being released because we are committed to providing transparency to our community. This video may contain strong language and graphic images, which may be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. On Saturday, August 7th, 2021, at approximately 12:35 a.m., the Bakersfield Police Department received an emergency call for service regarding a disturbance in the 2300 block of Brazil Avenue. The caller advised that an adult male in a green Chevrolet truck was armed with a firearm. Officers received an additional update that shots had been fired. However, no one had been struck. The suspect fled the area in the green Chevrolet truck. At 12:56 a.m., the Bakersfield Police Department received a report of a subject shooting at a security guard in a subdivision construction site northwest of Panama Lane and Buena Vista Road. The reporting party advised the subject was occupying a green Chevrolet pickup. No one was injured.
911 emergency.
This is Ian. Hey, I just called you guys. I'm a security guard out here. Hey, the guy just fired a gun at us.
Okay, where are you at? Okay, what kind of vehicle is it?
It was a green Chevy with a camper shell.
At 2:32 a.m., the Bakersfield Police Department received a report that a subject with a firearm had arrived at a family member's residence in the 4500 block of Blossom Valley Lane. The subject was occupying a green Chevrolet pickup. At approximately 2:50 a.m., officers located the suspect's vehicle in the 4700 block of Blossom Valley Lane. Officers were in the process of discussing how to safely approach when the suspect began driving the vehicle. A two-officer unit near the patrol vehicle caught up with the suspect vehicle and a short pursuit began. The suspect vehicle became disabled just south of Harris Road and Stein Road after the suspect appeared to lose control and struck a barrier wall. Neither officer in the pursuing patrol vehicle activated their body camera devices during the pursuit, which took less than a minute. Based upon the preliminary investigation, including the location of cartridge casings and bullet impacts, the suspect immediately exited his vehicle and fired multiple times at the officers who were exiting their vehicle. The officers returned fire. Body cameras, when activated, show video with no audio back to 30 seconds prior to activation. Due to the immediacy of the suspect vehicle becoming disabled, short duration of the vehicle pursuit, and the suspect immediately firing at officers, they did not activate their body cameras until the first exchange of gunfire had already occurred. At this time, unknown to the officers, the suspect had fled over the concrete wall into the backyard of a residence. This is the body camera footage from the two officers who initially exchanged gunfire with the suspect. There was no indication based upon processing of the scene that the suspect was injured during the initial exchange. At this time, the suspect had already fled. This is the body camera footage of the other officer who had initially exchanged gunfire with the suspect.
He's in front of the truck! Come on, with your hands up! Here, watch it. Stop! Where's he at? Come out with your hands up! Send the dog. You have no cover. Send the dog. He's over here. Send the dog! I don't know! Send the dog! He's in front of the truck! Give me a car! No, it was me on the car. Pull up. Keep coming. Drive it up. Pull up. We gotta clear this fast, because if he's... Drive it slow. Look forward.
Officers confirmed that the suspect had fled the site of the initial exchange of gunfire. Officers in the dispatch center began to receive information from citizens that the suspect had fled over the concrete wall and was moving in the backyards of residences in the 5700 block of Autumn Crest Drive. Officers learned from a witness that the suspect had discarded a handgun. However, officers had received information earlier that the suspect was in possession of an additional firearm. Officers formed a search team to look for the suspect.
Here. Now, we have a primary concern right now being the residents inside. If this suspect forces entry into a residence, we have a hostage situation. We cannot allow that.
Yes, sir. And try and get them out.
We can do that, but we need to make sure that we take action onto this suspect, right? Because he can just easily get over a fence and into somebody else's residence. So, my concern is now, we're going to have long guns being able to make contact. We have a block wall directly behind where officers are at. So if we do engage in gunfire, keep your gunfire under block wall level. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your considerations of deploying the dog into the backyard if the suspect
shutting down at Stein and Season.
I'm more comfortable with it now that we've found a gun.
Okay, but we understand, guys, just because we found a gun doesn't mean we have nothing else. So, if he is comfortable with it,
Autumn Crest Drive, backyard of the residence.
Okay.
Unit 45706, Autumn Crest.
He's waving us down, so let's start making a move. Yacht, get your dog.
The contact team began to clear backyards where they were alerted by residents.
Me and Ram have hands on. We have 2 vehicles here and then the dog.
Yeah, we can do announcements. He makes one wrong move, you send that dog.
Bakersfield Police Department, Police Canine. We know you are in one of these yards. Come out with your hands up. Surrender peacefully or we'll send a dog. He will find you. He will bite you. Bakersfield Police Department, Police Canine. We know you're here. Just give up now. Come out with your hands up. We're going to send a dog. He's going to find you. He's going to bite you. Bakersfield Police Department, Police Canine. Surrender now. Come out with your hands up or you're going to get bit.
Yeah. You got 2 hands on, you have 2 lethals. And 1 less than lethal. We have a taser.
This took approximately 15 minutes. At approximately 3:15 a.m., officers believe they located the suspect concealed in a trash can in the backyard of a residence. The following video is from involved officers.
Suspect is possibly hiding in the trash can.
Hey, get down! Oh, get out! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands!
Robert 17, suspect is possibly hiding in the trash can on the south side. Leading officers to the front of the residence, clear to the south.
Three officers discharged their firearms during the second shooting. Officers rendered medical aid to the suspect who succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased by medical personnel. No weapon was found in the suspect's possession. The suspect's firearm was recovered in a nearby backyard in his path of flight and found to have been fired dry. Additional firearms linked to the suspect were located discarded on Blossom Valley Lane and Brazil Avenue. Pursuant to state law, this investigation is being conducted by the California Department of Justice and the Bakersfield Police Department. This is an ongoing investigation. Conclusions about the involved officers' actions with regard to law and policy will not be made until all facts are known and the investigation is complete. The Bakersfield Police Department's use of force policy, including deadly force policy, is available to the public at www.bakersfieldpd.us.
All right. Let's get into it.
The information, audio, 2021, at approximately 12:35 a.m., the Bakersfield Police Department received an emergency call for service regarding a Chevrolet truck was found with a firearm. Officers received an additional update that shots had been fired. Suspect fled the area.
So police are responding to a call where they know a guy has shot a gun. He's fired at a security guard at a construction site, and there's no doubt with anyone's mind that the call that they're responding to is involving a gun. So before I get into that part, the security guard at the construction site, I would say that probably this security guard was unarmed, or else the security guard, I would hope, would have returned fire at this guy. It is very common to have unarmed security. In the security business, there are generally a couple options that are on the table that most companies offer. It's armed and unarmed security, and there's a price difference in that. And naturally, because people want to spend less money, they go with the unarmed option. So the security companies offer these options to customers. And of course, they have the unarmed option, and that is something that a lot of people gravitate towards because it's cheaper. I personally do not fully understand that. I get it from the profit standpoint, like, oh, well, we can't get these people to want to pay for armed. Oh, well, we'll just reduce the price and give them unarmed, and then the unarmed person that we hire will also get paid less as well. So they're still making money. From a logical standpoint, practical standpoint, it makes no sense to me to have unarmed security. If you're going to have a person whose job it is to go protect property or protect people and deal with general public while doing these things, they can very likely come into contact with the same type of people that law enforcement comes into contact with. They could come into contact with people who want to shoot it out, just like this guy wanted to shoot at security. They come into contact with people who don't want to abide by the rules, and because they are going to be caught, or they feel like they're going to be caught, they're going to fight. There could be people who are just hell-bent on hurting other people. And it makes no sense to me to offer unarmed security. My company, I don't even offer that option. That is off the table. I have really no time or care to offer unarmed security to any of my customers. It's not even an option. It's nothing that I'll ever entertain because of what I just said. If I'm going to be tasking a person with protecting another person or protecting property, and they're having to deal with general public, and it's the same type of people that law enforcement can come into contact with, and that person needs to be able to have the means to protect themselves. They have to be able to protect themselves from a violent criminal offender who may try to kill or seriously physically injure them in the process of trying to kill them. So they're going to have to be armed. So the security guard at this construction site, pretty high chance that this guy was unarmed, didn't have a gun, just probably sitting in I highly doubt he was even in a company vehicle. He's probably sitting in his personal vehicle, sitting there playing on his phone or something. And he could have been doing some rounds or something, or he could have been in a company vehicle. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would say, based off my experience, chances are he probably didn't have a gun. Now, if he did have a gun and he failed to return fire at this dude who was shooting at him, well, he's pretty much ineffective. If he can't protect his own damn self, then how in the hell do you expect him to protect anything else when violence like that occurs?
A green
Moving on.
Green Chevy.
with a firearm had arrived at a family green Chevrolet vehicle. He approached.
So we see the guy drive by here, and he's just kind of mean mugging the officers as he rolls by. It looked like he even waved at them. Or maybe that's a little gang sign he's throwing up. I don't know. But everyone's just kind of staring at him, and they're like, hello. Doesn't I need to replay. Looks like maybe that one guy's holstering his gun right here in the back. The other, I'm not so sure. We'll look across the way over here. Looks like he might have a rifle out, possibly. Yeah, I think he's got a rifle. So at least a couple of them got guns out. This guy right here. Looks like maybe he just holstered. So they were standing around. They didn't seem very
A 2-officer unit
into the
near
game, I
Chloe.
guess you could say, just kind of nonchalantly watching this guy drive by. I would have maybe hoped to have seen some guns at the low ready in the event that this guy would start shooting again. So wasn't a fan of their posturing or anything like that. And then actually being out here in the open, back this up again. Now, they've obviously identified that this is the vehicle. Yeah, just not a big fan of how they're just standing out in the open after knowing this guy has shot at people. One, I think their guns should have been a low ready, if not pointing at the damn vehicle and at him, and then definitely taking cover behind something, because he could have very easily just turned the wheel to the right and rammed into these officers. So, not a big fan of what I just saw right there.
The suspect needed a minute. Bullet
Moving
impact.
on.
Body camera station. Pursuit. Of gun. Fled over through
So we don't see the very first gunfight that they get into. There's a gunfight they get into. No one had their cameras activated, and they didn't activate it until after it. I've talked about body cameras before. You go into a call before you ever get on scene. I think it's just a good practice to just go ahead and turn the camera on. If you capture a couple minutes of you pulling into an area and you're driving down the road, then so be it. It's just a couple minutes. It's not going to make or break the body camera recording. So I've always advocated, as you're pulling up to the scene or you're going in the area, go ahead and click that camera on, get it rolling. That way you don't miss critical things like this, because when things go from 0 to 100 real quick and you don't have time or the mindset to turn that camera on, well, then you're not capturing anything if you don't turn it on beforehand. So I think it's always a good practice to turn it on when everything is still cool, calm, and collective. You're thinking about it before you even get out of the car. Have it turned on. That way, when things go from 0 to 100 real quick, you've already got everything captured that you need captured. That's a fan. I'm a fan of doing it like that. Even though, you know, everything that I turn my camera on for doesn't result in anything critical. I also have the ability to access all the recordings on my camera and download them from the camera onto the evidence sync and clear the camera. Other people obviously may not have that ability. They can't very easily clear the camera if there's a bunch of recordings from a shift or something like that. So it's also that kind of tactic is also going to depend on the SOPs and then the equipment that you've got. So like my Axon body camera, like I said, it holds a pretty good amount of recordings on there. And I've just gotten the habit of I turn it on before I even get out of the car as I'm pulling up to stuff, and I capture a lot of nothing, a lot of stuff that don't happen. But I also have that ability to hook my camera up to my computer in my vehicle and go ahead and just download the videos from the camera to the software, and then have a clear camera for more footage. So if you don't have that ability to do that in the field on the go, that kind of sucks. But you should still also have that ability at the end of your shift to dock your camera and it automatically download everything and go ahead and clear that camera. So with the way cameras are, I really don't see a reason why you should be concerned about the camera being filled up too much, because they're pretty simple. And I mean, unless you're going to call after call after call after call after call after call after call and just eating up hours of video on each call, then you shouldn't be running through your entire data on your camera. But we missed the first gunfight here. Looks like they moved this it looks like they moved this vehicle into a position to kind of block it in. He's taking cover behind it. The siren. So this happens a lot where the siren stays on. You know, you bail out of the vehicle really quick. Different manufacturers for these sirens have, you know, different setups. They've got the, you know, there's one feature where you can have a wire going to the horn of your vehicle. So y'all, like your steering wheel, you press the horn, you can do that, and that will actually change one of the tones in the siren. There's a feature where you can have it hooked up to your gear selector, and you throw that vehicle in the park, and shuts the siren off. I think that's a great feature. Not every installer who puts this equipment into the vehicle when the agencies buy them will hook that feature up. Some siren models may not even have that feature. When the vehicles come from the manufacturers, you know, like the Ford Explorers and the Tauruses and the Dodge Chargers, stuff like that, they come in different configurations. Some places will have the stuff in them. Some agencies will buy them pretty much bare bone, and then they'll install all their stuff in it. And you know, some agencies will have like a division within their government that is basically like a mechanic shop. And these people will outfit the vehicles and install the cameras, run all the wires for the lights, and put the stuff in there and all that. So it's different all across the nation how this stuff gets installed. Personally, I would just like to see the vehicle manufacturers themselves basically put all the basic lighting packages and everything in there like it is, and have that feature already set up to where when you throw the car in park, it automatically shuts the siren off. Because that siren, if it stays on, people aren't going to be able to hear the verbal commands very well. It's very distracting. With it being on, you might not be able to hear things that you would want to hear, like hear the person going through a bush or something, or someone maybe on the other side of that fence yelling, he's over here, and you can't hear it because the damn siren is so damn loud and close to where you're at. So it's one of those things where it's different all across the nation how these things are set up. And some agencies have, you know, weird preferences. You know, they prefer, you know, this one brand over the other, and it's really boils down to who's in charge of putting that stuff in and what the preference is, and etc. Some people put the whole Christmas tree in a car as far as all the light packages, and then there's some that they just put a light bar on top and that's it. They bare bones. That's all they put in there. They go with the cheapest option and they get the cheapest stuff in there, and they just, you know, do a basic install. So it's different everywhere you go. Even within one particular state, it can be different from region to region within that state how cars are set up. But overall, if you have the technology, if you have the equipment that can do siren shut off when the vehicle goes in the park, set that up. Like, nobody wants to hear a siren for several minutes after you've parked your car and jumped out. So probably an unnecessary rant, but oh well, it's my video.
At this time, the suspect had already fled. This is the body camera footage of the other officer who had initially exchanged.
He's ducking down. He's trying to see if he can see. I'm assuming he's trying to see if he can see up under the vehicle, see any legs or feet or anything like that. He's got a pretty good weapon-mounted light on there. Weapon-mounted lights on long guns is crucial. It's very important to have that on there, even for your pistols.
Truck. Give me a car.
Give me a car. No, it was me on the car. Pull up, pull up. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Drive it up, pull up. I need to make, we gotta clear this fast, because if he's... Drive it slow. Slow. Look forward.
Officers confirmed that the suspect had fled the citizens. D7.
They used the vehicle as cover, as a rolling cover, to go up and clear that front of that vehicle.
Very concerned right now being the residents inside. If this suspect...
This guy's taking charge. I like how he talks about wanting to implement long guns, getting the rifles out.
Forces entry into it. We can do
He's
that.
making a pretty good plan to go in and get this guy.
Yeah, your considerations of deploying the dog into the backyard. If this suspect
Copy, shutting down at sign and season.
I'm more comfortable with it now that we've found a gun.
Okay, but
So earlier they was wanting to send the dog in when they was at the truck, didn't do it. Now they're talking about, some concerns with deploying the dog, and this guy says he's more comfortable with it now that they found a gun. So it sounds like to me the canine officer was hesitant about wanting to send his dog in because he had concerns of the dog being shot. I love dogs. I wish that, I could find a job dealing exclusively with dogs. But working dogs are a tool, and I understand risk mitigation. You don't want to risk destroying an expensive piece of equipment when something else could be done. However, in this kind of scenario, this is the bread and butter of what the dogs are for. The dogs are meant to soak up the bullets so that the humans don't soak up bullets. And I think that is a lot of handlers' difficulties when they are around the dog so long. They build a connection with the dog. It becomes their pet. Fucking Stockholm syndrome, if you will. I think they become very reluctant to want to send their friend, their partner, into something that they think there's a high chance of their friend or partner being shot. And I get that. I understand that. Because a lot of places, the dog goes home with the handler. The dog essentially becomes their pet. They're with them all day. They play with them and pet them and feed them. It's their buddy. I get that. That's a difficult thing for them to deal with, and it's hard to get that disconnect, But that's what the dogs are for. The dogs are meant to take bullets so that the humans don't take bullets. I think we could all agree that when it comes to dogs versus humans, good humans, we need to see the dog die before the humans, especially when involving police. Now, I'll tell you that I think there are some people in this world who need to die before a dog dies, but we're talking about cops here, and obviously that doesn't apply here. So in this context, yeah, that dog needs to be the one to take a bullet first before one of these officers does. And it's a difficult thing, a difficult situation for a handler to get involved in when they've built such a strong connection with that animal. So I can't blame the officer for wanting to be reluctant, for wanting to send the dog in. However, that's what the dog's for.
we understand.
The contact team began to clear backyards where they were alerted.
You have 2 vehicles here, and then we drop.
Yeah, we can do announcements.
Obviously, they're doing everything with white light. There could be a conversation had about the use of night vision and infrared and stuff like that, searching at night, especially, in instances like this where you would want to have more of a tactical advantage. But we don't see any of them have any of that equipment, so we just won't even go into it.
Bakersfield Police Department.
Yeah.
Took approximately 15 minutes.
So they go around for a little bit trying to find them.
Suspect is possibly hiding in the trash can.
So they talk about this guy being in the trash can. One thing I noticed, this guy with a rifle pointed up. I think the other guy with a pistol pointed down, he's just shining a flashlight at it. If they truly believe this guy's in this trash can, then they need to have their guns pointed at this trash can. I don't think this is an acceptable posture for this guy to be taken. He has a long gun. He has the best gun right now between these guys to stop a fight if a fight starts. He needs to have that gun, that rifle, trained on that damn thing if they truly believe that he's in there.
Hey, get down! Oh, get out! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands!
On Robert 17, suspect is possibly hiding in a trash can on the south side of many officers.
So I would say that most likely the dude in the trash can was hearing everything being said, and he knew it was up. He knew he'd been found. I mean, you could call it a coincidence that, he just happened to pop up out of that freaking trash can as they were talking about him being in the trash can. But I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he heard them and he decided he's going to go bolt again and trying to go hide somewhere. So this guy finally, he gets the mindset of getting the rifle on target.
Oh, get out! He has something in his hands!
Sit the dog! Sit the fuck down!
He has something in his hands!
3 officers discharged their firearms during the second shooting.
So this dude, I mean, he's in the trash can and boom, he pops up like Grouch. Yeah.
He has something in his hands!
Sit the dog! Sit the fuck down!
He has something in his hands!
He comes around that corner and they light his ass up like a Christmas tree.
3 officers discharged their firearms during the second shooting. Officers rendered medical aid to the suspect who succumbed to his injuries.
Even though this guy didn't have a gun on him, I see no fault for the officers using deadly force against him. He came running at them super fast. It's low light. This guy has already shot at other people. He has shot at the police. Any reasonable person would believe that this guy potentially still has a gun on him and he could be a deadly physical threat. Like I said, it's low light. You're not able to see a whole lot, even with the weapon-mounted lights on. This guy was making very fast movement. I mean, he's like Grouch, jumping out of the trash can like a friggin', Jack in the Box, just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, that in of itself, that sudden quick movement is startling. And you see it. You see the officers, have the oh shit reaction and they kind of jump out of the way. And then boom, this guy's coming down this walkway super fast, running at him. I'm perfectly fine with them dumping some rounds in him. I mean, what? This guy is obviously running from them. And now he's going to run towards them. Like he spent all this time running away from them. Now he's running towards them. I would assume he has a gun and he's going to pull a Leroy Jenkins and just run in there and try to do some damage. So no problem with them shooting at him as he's running towards them all super fast like that. And after the fact that he, of course, has shot at them before. So no problem with them using deadly physical force against him like this.
3 officers discharged their firearms and was pronounced. The suspect's.
Now the guy, in true fashion of ghetto-ness, had a freaking high point. I'm surprised the damn thing even fired. Really. And look at this. It's got a little like a little light attachment. This gun's such a piece of shit. But yeah, he fired this thing to, well, I'm assuming he fired this thing to slide lock. For all I know, the damn thing malfunctioned and it wouldn't shoot anymore. But this is the gun that he was using. And he discarded it.
Additional firearms linked to the suspect were located discarded on Blossom Valley Lane and Brazil Avenue.
Good thing he didn't get this shotgun into play. Shotguns can be really devastating. And it's very good he didn't put this thing into play. Now, the nice thing about this is it does not appear as though this thing has any sights on it. So, but these weapons, these ARs, especially AR pistols, are an emerging trend with the bad guys, especially the AR pistols and AK pistols, or choppas as they describe them. That changes things a whole lot, especially for the armor that police are wearing. The armor that police wear on a daily basis is only rated for stopping pistol caliber ammunition, the most common threat that they are facing. So when body armor came out and was in widespread use with the police, let's go to the 80s and go all the way through the 90s and early 2000s. That pistol caliber ammunition was the most common thing that you found on criminals. Back then, all the criminals talked about Glocks, and so that was the thing in rap music that you would see here in the movies, Glock pistols, whatever. And those were the most common things that you found on people were pistols. Not everyone, of course, had Glocks. Lots have those shitty high points. But other guns that are pistol caliber, even, in the 80s, mostly early 80s, you got revolvers. And so 90s, you start seeing the, more of a trend of semi-automatic weapons coming out. But regardless of whatever that part of time that you're in, it's all pistol caliber stuff. And so that's the extent of what the armor police need. They just need stuff to stop the most common things they come across. Everyone knows that soft armor will not stop rifle rounds. Everyone knows that, or they should know that. Back in the 80s, it was not a common thing to find criminals with ARs or AKs. Going in the 90s, same thing. Like the most common thing you'd find on a criminal is a handgun. Why? Because they're more comfortable and convenient. The same fucking reason we carry them, right? That's the common denominator. They're convenient and they're comfortable. You can conceal them. They don't draw a whole lot of attention. Carrying around a rifle like this is going to draw some attention. It's not very comfortable to carry it all the time, etc. So, armor was designed and made to stop the most common threat, pistol caliber ammunition. Well, now these are starting to become more common. Maybe not this size, maybe get the muzzle down to about, right in here, and you got an AR pistol. Those are very popular. Those are an emerging trend. Those are now becoming the more common kind of threat. So I foresee a paradigm shift in how law enforcement approaches body armor within the next 10 years. I foresee big changes, making a transition from just soft armor alone to going to a combination of soft and hard armor, or going to armor that's fully rifle rated. And one company right now that comes to mind that offers a product like that is Safe Life Defense. They have a product called the FRAS, F-R-A-S, Flexible Rifle Armor System. It kind of reminds me of the old dragon skin armor back from the early 2000s. It's just a bunch of ceramic plates made into a panel that are flexible, and it wears just like a normal soft armor vest, and it flexes very similar to a soft armor vest. It's not a a big rigid, rifle plate or anything like that, like a ceramic plate or a steel plate or anything. It's the size of a normal concealed vest or even outer vest that you would get. The soft panels, they flex and they can wrap around your body and provide the same area of coverage of protection over your body and stop rifle, just the same as the full area of coverage that your normal body armor that stops pistol ammo would cover. So I foresee companies eventually embracing that type of design and technology, and I think that we're going to start seeing police in the next decade wearing armor like that, or a combination of plates with soft armor. I would say the combination stuff would probably start out first because that would be the easiest transition to do, but I think that eventually a flexible rifle armor type of system like what Safe Life Defense has will become a normal thing because these type of guns are becoming more popular. And with that being said, I also foresee more gun control coming out. People will want to pass legislation to protect the police, and all it's going to do is have a negative effect on law-abiding citizens. The criminals are still going to get their hands on guns. They're still going to shoot at the police. But I mean, you can't talk common sense to people when their emotions and their ability to act under reason is robbed by fear. I mean, that or they're just completely ignorant, which is why we have some of the gun laws that we have today. Just complete ignorant people that don't understand shit, and people who are afraid. They think, oh, well, we'll ban guns. Well, that's going to save us. That's going to protect us. No, it's not. So I unfortunately see probably in the next 10 years as well some type of legislation changing, and might possibly see an outright ban on AR pistols and AK pistols, maybe, some change in ATF writings that says, oh, well, these are now SBRs, you can't have them. I would see something like that. I would even unfortunately see more ramped up efforts to attack quote unquote assault rifles. So I can see that ramping up and becoming a more concentrated effort from the anti-gun crowd, just trying to get rid of stuff like this.
Pursuant to state law, department.
So not much else to say about this. I wish they would have activated their cameras a lot sooner so we could see what the heck was going on. Yeah, not much else that you could say about this. I don't think that they violated this guy's rights in any way. I don't.
Get out! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands! He has something in his hands!
Back that up. I don't think that they violated his rights in any way. This guy, he tried to kill other people. He tried to kill the police. He brought this shit upon himself. I don't think that any rights were violated. I think they used deadly physical force appropriately. Tactics wise, some things, like I talked about the dog and stuff like that. Nothing egregious, I don't think, other than the fact when they were first around that corner, they weren't pointing rifles or weapons at the trash can. Other than that, there's not really much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.